and you can see trends even, and Amber alluded to this in the very beginning, you can see trends on Instagram, right? There's always something, a new supplement
Mm,
trending that now
totally.
everybody's kind of grabbing onto and kind of running with it, right? So that's important to identify too, that there's kind of ebbs and flows of trends. And at the end of the day, people are going to be like, well, why is magnesium so important? Right? So Amber, why don't you tell everybody why that's important?
Oh, just think of all the enzyme reactions that are magnesium based in our
Yep.
body. But aside from that, let me just focus on one thing that is probably the hardest hinging factor that everyone's health and healing depends on, and that is stress.
Mhm.
And magnesium just depletes stress in us. And that's just not internal stressors like pathogens and deficiencies and toxicity overloads, but external stressors too. What's going on in your life, how you're managing with your day-to-day life stressors that we can't mitigate, that we just have to better deal with. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I agree. I agree. And what are some of the tactics that you guys like to use for stress? And then we'll dive into why minerals are important.
This is an ongoing journey personally for me because as a holistic coach, I learned, a very long time ago that managing stress is part of the holistic approach. And I have to say that was, and I think for most people, that's kind of the unsexy thing to look at, right? Like, well,
Mhm.
wait, just tell me what supplements to take, tell me what workouts to do. I don't want to like nervous system regulate. I don't even know, I'm too busy. I'm got
Mm-hmm.
things to do. But, this is another prior to me taking my first HTMA, I did get into I was trying to find meditation, and I don't know about you guys, I really struggled with meditation because I have a racing mind, and I'm just like, I can't do this. But then I did find TM. My son actually called me up one day and said, "Mom, I learned." He went for a training for TM, and he said it's been the best meditation for me because it was just focusing on a mantra and it gave his mind something to do. And I thought, let me try this. So I went on to get trained in that, and it was actually the first successful meditation that I was doing, and then got led to Dr. Joe Dispenza. So I started doing his meditations, and I try to do breath work and stuff. But I have to say that I'm always trying to. I know that Amber mentioned, I think one time, Primal Trust. I have another practitioner friend that went through the program. So I recently looked into that, and I'm definitely going to do that program. I think everybody has to find something. So, but you know, it's definitely challenging, and I think for most people, because I think the biggest thing is in the way our lives are so busy, so rushed, so much pressures that people put that on the back burner. But when I did my first HTMA years ago, 3 years ago, my adrenals were extremely fatigued. And this has been the biggest thing in my journey. And I think, like I said, for most people, is getting repairing and healing. And again, I don't know about you. I have one friend that I work with, and she needs to work on her nervous system. But she's like, I don't have time for that. Just is there another supplement I can take to like support my adrenals and my stress?" I'm like, You're doing it all, but you're missing this piece."
I
Yeah.
think circadian rhythm regulation is really important
Oh
too.
yeah, that is very,
Oh my gosh.
Very
Yeah,
much.
just get outside.
yeah, sun gazing.
Best thing.
That's such
Right? Think.
another thing, Amber. Like I feel like,
Mhm.
and again, this is something newer for me too, that I got into circadian biology, and it again, it's challenging because people go, like most people, we get up, we get in the shower, we go to work, get in your car. We're never outside.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
just heard a testimonial of somebody healing, and she didn't even know she did it by accident. She went to Hawaii. She was living in Alaska, and she had a lot of health issues, went to Hawaii for a month and didn't know about like sun and healing. She was walking on the sand in nature, getting sun, and she literally healed her issues that she had. And she was like, and she was eating organic food, but she couldn't figure out why. And then she didn't know about the powers of being in the sunlight and grounding. So it's so powerful. I do feel like it's again something
I need
that
to go to Hawaii. Oh my.
Gabby's on the
That's
next
the
plane.
answer.
Anti-stress.
Yeah. Wow. That is amazing.
Well,
Yeah. I
you gotta
mean,
think of the power even to see the sunrise, right?
Oh.
That's a practice that a lot of people do, is just get out and see the sunrise and even the sunset, and then
mhm.
that kind of resets things, right?
I mean, even when, like, for me, I do that, not sometimes not even in the morning, but because I do a lot of things on the computer, like I'm seeing clients in between, I would just, if I have a break, I go outside and just walk around, just seeing outside. I come back, I feel like a new person again.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's amazing how just getting to be outdoors, and I know sometimes, oh, it's cloudy. It's like, stay by the window. Still get something. Or it's rainy or it's wet. You can still get that light, stay at that window. You might need to stay a little longer. So there are many ways, modifying with, getting this light. It doesn't have to be like, sun. Just get that light in your eyes. Because this is what I tell people with doing the sun gazing thing in the morning when you wake up, is that if you're having sleep issues, you don't wait till the time for you to sleep. The planning for sleep starts when you wake up in the morning. That's when start preparing yourself, and even, talking about stress, that some of the things to even help people with their stress that I go through is that let's start looking at your list of things you do. What kind of person are you? Like for me, I said I'm a recovering people pleaser. That was my stress. I mean, it's like I'm doing, don't know how to say no. I'm saying yes, yes, yes. That's the stress. And it's like, yes, I know I love helping people. I love doing this. But at the time, I have to be like, well, so I started identifying this with some of my patients, and we're going through stuff that it's like, no, I'm not stressed. I'm fine. I'm like, why are we seeing some patterns here that there is stress? I still remember a particular patient, we were going through all the lists, like, what is it that there's some stress here going on? I'm looking at her HTMA, I'm looking at some things, her history. And then one thing that I figure out that, because I have been there and I think we kind of figure out that she now looks, she said, you know what? I think I'm volunteering for many things in my community or what. And she's like, I think I need to start cutting down on some of these things. And it's that thing. I mean, it's amazing when you discover some of all these things that people don't realize. It's like, why?
Yeah.
And this is why sometimes too with the HTMA is that you might not know that you're going through stress until you see some certain patterns. Like I know we'll be talking about the thing with calcium shell, seeing that like, no, I'm not sure. But then when you see that, and for myself too, I have that issue that happened, that I got my calcium, it was good, and then it went up, and I knew I was going through some things, some partnerships I was doing with somebody, which I wasn't very happy about. And I thought I was handling it well until I did my test. I saw the numbers shoot up. And, when you have calcium shell, talking about stress, trauma, these are some of the things to know the markers. And then I realized it made me kind of slow down, like, okay, I didn't think I was handling myself well. And of course, I broke that partnership, but but yeah, so this is some of the things that, sometimes people talking about stress, they are just people that they just hold things in, and they just feel like it is not, they feel, I don't know why, maybe they feel guilty that they should say they are stressed, that,
The
oh
body
no.
keeps the
Yeah.
score, right?
Well, and I think a
Body keeps
lot
the
of,
score. I was thinking that too.
yeah, I don't know if you guys have ever read the book. It's so good. Mind Over Medicine.
Oh,
It's like, it's so, I think like any practitioner should read it, and any non-practitioner should read it. But I think it's great to have all these strategies, like going outside and like all of the meditation, whatever it is you want to do to manage your stress. But I think at the end of the day, it's like, well, why
why are you even getting stressed in the first place? Like what in your
That why
life?
question again.
Yeah, and I think it comes down to, because like basically in the book she talks about how she was serving a really like well-off population, you know, and people dealing with all of these chronic health issues that, you know, they had all the money in the world to take all the supplements and do all the treatments and do all these things and go to yoga and go to all these classes and all of it, but they're not getting better. And at the end of the day, it comes down to like, what is happening in your life? Like what relationships, like what you mentioned, Gabby, right? If it's a work relationship or a personal relationship, like what in your life, where are you unhappy? Because it doesn't matter how many supplements you take, you can meditate every single night. If you are unhappy, like you're not going to be well.
Right.
Talk
And then your
about
body,
grateful heart.
yeah.
Yeah.
And like maybe it's kind of not like presenting as symptoms right away, right? And then but eventually it does get to that point. And then
Yeah.
you don't know why, right? I had the craziest thing happen to me. And it's funny because sometimes we read these things and then it's not until it happens to you that you're like, oh my God, it's real. This is real. But I found myself about a year and a half ago. I left my marriage that I was in for 12, 13 years. And literally from the day that I had this conversation, like literally the next day I got sick. And I was sick in bed for a week. Like I couldn't even get out of bed. I was so sick. I mean, I could not stop with all of the symptoms. I was still coming to work and trying to keep things like under wraps. It wasn't super severe, but I just couldn't get better. I could not get better. And we were still living together for a couple months. And it wasn't until like probably the third month or something of now I'm like 3 months into just constantly being sick and not being able to get better. And I'm blowing my nose all the time. And I felt so disgusting. And I think it was like I just lost it. I think I was maybe even talking to you, Lisa. I was like, I've been sick for 3 months and I can't get better. And you were like, here's some oregano oil. And I'm like, I don't need that. I was like just so fed up. Like, why isn't my body getting better? I've never been sick for 3 months. And I'm not even joking you. The weekend that I moved out of the house that I was in, it's like all the stress of the move really accumulated and I somehow got even sicker than I was. Like my eyes swelled up.
Oh wow.
I was like, I was a disaster. I was literally like, I looked like a mutant. Like my eye was swollen. I'm like mucus is everywhere. But I was like, I'm moving out of this house. And so I spent the entire day moving. I literally collapsed on the bed, passed out, and I'm not even kidding. The next day I woke up and like it was gone. Like I was
Wow.
better. Like my body was like, you can't heal in this environment that you're obviously
Making you sick.
not supposed to be in, right? Like I had, you know,
Oh
I
wow.
had to put in the time to get my affairs in order. But yeah, like, and I witnessed it. I was like, how am I better overnight? How was I sick for 3 months? And it's like, well, I was incredibly stressed during that period of time, obviously. And like I witnessed that, right? I witnessed it happen to me. And it's like, how many people are unhappy in a situation or stressed, right? Like just that low grade stress that they're living every day, maybe in a relationship or a work partnership, whatever it is, right? Like your body will not get better from whatever you're trying to get better from if you're sticking around somewhere where you're not comfortable, where you're not supposed to be, where you're not happy. So
Well,
And your
and
body
that's
gives you those symptoms, like
Oh yes.
you don't
yeah.
ask the
Alert.
questions. Like
And
if you have anxiety, maybe
yeah, you're overlooking one thing though, and I'll get Vanessa to talk about this, but this is where if we have the symptoms, that's evident, right? We know. And symptoms aren't bad. It's your body talking to you. It's trying to tell you something, and it's whether you listen or not, right? But in my opinion, so for those watching who have done hair testing, and we're going to talk about the validity of it on the next show, because Gabby, you brought that up about functional medicine doctors maybe not having it or using it in practice, or maybe Sheila, it was you. And I want to share a little bit on that and talk about it because I think it's really important, but we won't have time today. But one of the most important ratios, in my opinion, is sodium to potassium, right? So your
Yes.
electrolyte ratio. Because you know what? Sometimes when we are, so think about the type A personalities, right? Guy got the t-shirt. And I'd be like, I can have 55 projects on the go and I'm fine, right? And maybe I don't have symptoms, but you know what? The test comes back and Vanessa, what does it tell me?
And the test comes back, it's telling you that you are incredibly stressed.
Yep,
An intense alarm state of stress.
exactly.
Intense, acute stress, and your potentially your potassium might be very, very low, and you are somebody who's in sympathetic dominance, thinking that you are still able to do all the things, but your body is saying, no, you need to slow right down.
Yep.
And it's that fight with yourself because you've just not let go. You've not accepted that your body has actually slowed down.
Yep. Yeah. And we
And
don't
that's,
feel it quite yet,
yeah.
right? You don't feel it
Mm-hmm.
quite yet. And your head is in the gate going, no, no, I'm
That's
going
right.
110 miles an
Yeah.
hour.
And it's
You need to
often
keep-
that it's
right?
that type A person who has slowly moving from fast oxidation into slow oxidation, but their brain hasn't caught up yet, or their acknowledgement that that's happening. And I see it so often, a lot of, especially because I work with women over 40, I work with a lot of women who are career women, you know, women who have got quite far in their careers, and it's often those, it's the high achievers
Mm-hmm.
who finally come to me because they just can't work out what to do, and they're doing all the supplements, they're taking all the latest fads, this, that, and the other, and none of it's working. And when we look at the test, we see that they're just, they're not going to, if they carry on, then that everything's going to nosedive, and then they're going to.
Exactly. That's what I always tell them. It's like, well, you are not feeling, if you're not feeling it now, but this is the good thing about HTMA, that it tells you that if we keep going this pattern of your life, this is where you're going to head to. This is
Right.
telling us already. So, I mean, it
Well,
feels like you're a psychic. Like, how like this is it.
Yes, I
Well,
love the
that-
HTMA
right?
because you can essentially read people's mail, and I'll be multiple times I'm on a call with a practitioner. I'm like, wow, this looks like a person, and I'll just like list off all of these the their countenance, their demeanor, like whether or not they're super judgy and combative or go, and the practitioner will be like, where did you read that? That's exactly this person, and they didn't tell me, but I've observed it. And I'm like, well, so it's your opportunity to kind of they think you're a magician, and you're like, no, look, let's look a little bit deeper. There's a lot of hidden treasures here when
Yes.
we're looking at the HTMA and interpreting it properly, instead of what it looks like it says visually, but understanding all of the minerals and their interactions with each other and all the things, and then how that looks with someone's emotional state, with their nervous system, and where they're at on that spectrum of alarm state to burnout.
Because they're going to need different things, right? And that's why it's so important, because depending whether you're in that alarm state or burnout, it's like, well, what are we focusing more on, the sodium or the potassium, right? So
Yep.
like,
Well, and I think that's one of the reasons too that, I identified a long time ago, and I know some of you have too, is that why mineral testing can be so beneficial to do proactively for athletes,
Oh my
right?
gosh,
Because
So important.
right? It's like, oh, we all need electrolytes. Well, what if that electrolyte has copper in it? Because some of them do, right? They're broad spectrum, or calcium, and the body's already stressed and we have calcification. Like, right? Everybody's we're all different. Even the seven of us, we're all different. And our bodies are in a different state of stress, a different state of emotional status. Like, all that matters. It's not just about popping supplements and what have you. It's about telling you the story, right?
Yes.
So that's all we have time for today. Thanks for joining us. We hit on some amazing topics. So if you are, again, random supplementing, maybe even taking beef liver, right? Going down some of those rabbit holes. You know, you might want to look a little deeper. If you're doing these things and you're not feeling better, there's definitely some more digging that you need to do. And we're here to tell you all about mineral balancing and how it is the ultimate biohack. So next time we'll be back, we're going to be talking about some HTMA discrepancies, why some doctors don't feel that it's good for their practice, and we'll dive down some more rabbit holes with some ratios and what they might mean to you.